Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Sports Hub. I'm Will Haroldson. Alongside me, as always, is my partner, Ashton Parker. We have a lot to cover today, including all things Pointer sports, Milwaukee Bucks action, and previewing this Super Bowl. All of this when we come back. The 11th ranked Pointers men's hockey team had a successful weekend where they swept their conference rival UW Stout. Things started off pretty slow on Friday night's game, trailing 2-0 early in the first period. But it was a hat trick by Jordan Fader in the second period that allowed the Pointers to grab control and pull away, eventually winning 5-2. Pointers kept the momentum where they were once again dominating fashion against the Blue Devils, winning 3-0. So Ashton, we saw how this team answers to early adversity. What was their key to come back in the first game, and how does being down and coming back help prepare them for a postseason run?
Yeah, so I think what I saw the most from the games this weekend were that they saw what they did wrong in the first period of the first game. They really fixed those mistakes in that intermission, and they were able to clamp down and get those 2 wins by not allowing UW Stout to score a single goal in 5 periods. It was really impressive stuff, and these are the type of adversities that they're going to face in the playoffs, being down and having to make those adjustments and come back after an intermission. And doing this against, bit lower ranked teams like UW Stout is really good for helping for the confidence, and it's really good practice for those tournament games coming up.
Yeah, without question. And they have one more tough task coming up. UW Superior, despite the previous game where Stevens Point played them, they have a somewhat decent record. They're not lower team. They're not under bad. 500. But this is definitely, I want to say it's an opportunity game to keep things rolling. Like you said, 5 straight periods where they didn't score after taking a 2-0 lead in Friday night's game. And it really, you and I were both there. I was calling the game. You were in pep band, and yeah. You and I can probably guarantee we noticed that it really felt like things just shifted after that first intermission.
Oh, definitely.
Like, Stout was definitely the more aggressive team in the first period, and
Yep.
It showed. They really whooped Stevens Point. But after that first intermission, Pointers came out, and they just didn't look back. They just took control. They scored 4 goals in the second period.
Exactly. And this also, it's good to mention that the Pointers are fighting for a 1 seed right now in the NCAA tournament. So these are the type of games that they need to win, and they need to dominate for them for the people at top to give them the 1 seed that they want.
And your point is, I think, a valid one, saying they're fighting for a 1 seed, because it's really all in front of them. You win out, you have 4 more games, I believe.
Yep.
And then you got to win the conference tournament, which I believe is...
it's coming up really soon next Friday.
I think you'd have to get 4 wins in that. So
actually, I think it's only 3.
3 wins. So you have to win your next 7 games. You do that. I like your chances at being a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
if you're
I agree.
Able to go on a 7-game win streak.
Yeah, going back to your point about the WIAC tournament, I think it's safe to say that the Pointers are going to be probably the 1 seed in the WIAC tournament. Maybe the 2, but they're going to be up there. And there's only 6 teams in the conference, so the tournament structure is a little weird. But really, all the Pointers have to do, win out, get that 1 seed in the tournament, and you really only have to win 2 games because you're not going to play in the first round because of a bye. So win that out, win the tournament, which we're probably favored to do that because of how good we are. And you go into not only do you go into the NCAA tournament with a 1 seed, you go in with the WIAC conference championship, and your confidence is at an all-time high, and confidence really does matter.
Absolutely, and also regular season conference championships, I think, matter to this point as well.
I agree.
Obviously, you don't want to lose the conference tournament, but if you win the regular season, you got to like your chances at a 1 seed, even if you somehow get upset in the conference tournament. It's definitely exciting. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about how the Milwaukee Bucks have really turned things around and taken back first place in the Central Division. So we're going to take a break and be right back.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
Many experts question whether or not the Milwaukee Bucks would be able to follow up their championship season with another deep playoff run, and me being among one of those people. As of third place in the division, I thought really panic could have really ensued, but the Bucks were able to win 7 out of their last 9 games and take back first place in the Central Division. So, Ashton, what have the Bucks done to turn things around? Because I was definitely a doubter in thinking that they could go far because they were down as many as third place in the division.
I agree. So it's something that there's something that usually goes on in many sports, many professional sports, and that's called the sophomore slump. Usually, you win your championship and everything's great, and then that second year when you're trying to follow up that championship, most of the time actually, you start to do worse than what you're expected to do. And we definitely thought that the Milwaukee Bucks would have been one of those victims of the sophomore slump, but it looks like recently that they have been able to just go up there and been able to really play up to their potential, even with the couple of injuries that are still happening right now. And I think the main thing that has really helped them is that the big three has really just been clicking on all cylinders. Giannis is still 100% probably the favorite for the MVP right now. Maybe up there with like Joel Embiid or just a couple of other people, but I think Giannis is like just up there right now. Chris Middleton's been doing better. He started off the season actually not doing so hot as he used to do, but he's been getting up there again. And Drew Holiday has just been absolutely automatic recently. And honestly, he was one of those all-star snubs. I think he should have been an all-star, but I definitely think it's because of that big three. They've been really able to move away from or try to at least alleviate some of the pain that they're feeling from the loss of Brook Lopez, because they still really don't have a big man other than like Bobby Portis.
And Bobby's great, but he's not the physical man that Brook is. They did sign Greg Monroe last week to a 10-day contract, so he did come back to Milwaukee. But I think something that benefits the Bucks is how strong the Central Division is this year.
Oh yeah,
Detroit, they're not that great. But Cleveland and surprisingly Chicago are both really good teams that in all likelihood are going to be in the playoffs in some form or fashion, whether or not they make automatically or they have to do the play-in tournament. But I think it benefits the Bucks to have all this adversity come at them. Obviously, we want to get Brook back, but it's good to see that the team is definitely clicking and able to beat good teams. And yesterday they were able to beat the Los Angeles Clippers in LA, a place where historically they haven't necessarily played the greatest in the Staples Center, but they were able to come away with a W. And give me your forecast looking forward. Is there a timeline to when Brook Lopez is going to be back, or is it expect him for postseason?
I don't know. I think it's still going to be around a month still until we see Brook. I haven't really seen any updates on Brook Lopez yet. And like I said, it hurts not having him. Because like you said earlier, Bobby Portis, I love Bobby Portis. He's great, but it's just not the same. And I was really confused too. Going back a little earlier season, we had DeMarcus Cousins, and he was actually doing pretty great, honestly. He was starting to look like old Boogie, and then you just cut him. I don't know why.
Yeah, you and I were having a conversation. I was baffled by that move. Cousins was playing very well for the Bucks. They were able to take in the Golden State Warriors at the time were one of the hottest teams in the NBA, and the Bucks just thumped them. Boogie Cousins was part of that, so there must be. We don't like to speculate, but something
happened.
Something had to happen. They don't just get rid of a player who's playing well out of the blue like that. So.
Exactly. And okay, so of course, moving away from that, looking at the future now, because that happened in the past. We can't do anything about it. Even though it sucks, can't do anything about it. Looking ahead to the future, like I said, we're probably getting Lopez back in around, I would say a month or two. Maybe expect him for I think you could definitely just expect him for the playoffs, but I don't know. It's still going to be a little bit. But looking at their schedule right now, they got a couple of tough games coming up. You have, in a couple of days, you have Phoenix in Phoenix, the best team in the NBA in Phoenix, and it's going to be an NBA Finals rematch, which should be great.
They're not going to exactly be excited to see us down.
Oh, no, they're not. And then you have Philadelphia, who's been, they got Joel Embiid. They've been doing pretty good. The Nets have been kind of just slumping a little bit recently, but, we expect them to be, like the Brooklyn Nets. They have James Harden, Kevin Durant. If they're playing, are they playing? No, so maybe Kyrie Irving because they're playing in Milwaukee in that game. So that's also something. But I think looking ahead to the future, I think honestly I think it's safe to say we can expect the playoffs. But to win the Central Division, that's gonna be a little harder.
All right, so another question. And
Yeah,
I'll
what's up?
start this one. Top 3 NBA MVP players right now. For me, I love Giannis.
Yep.
He's probably my favorite player in the NBA currently, but I'd have to say number 1 position right now for MVP is probably Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
With what he's done with the situation he's in, and Ben Simmons, the way he's acted really hurt that team, and the fact that Joel Embiid has him in position to make the playoffs, I think that that certainly, and by just the way he's been playing, is certainly putting him in position MVP. Second, I would probably say Giannis. He's
Giannis.
arguably maybe the best player in the NBA all around. And then third, DeMar DeRozan of the Chicago Bulls. He's really that franchise, obviously historically great with Michael Jordan and stuff, but they have really brought the Chicago Bulls back into the spotlight. Really,
back to the forefront. We haven't seen them since 2011 with Derrick Rose.
Yeah, and so that'd be mine. I'm curious if you're
Man, that's fair. Honestly, I agree with Giannis and Joel Embiid being up there. I don't know how much I agree with DeMar DeRozan. Like, he's up there, but I don't know if he's top 3. God, I'd probably put KD because he's
Durant.
He's KD. Like, he's one of the he's probably one of the reasons why the Nets are still in sort of playoff. They're the 7th seed. They're in the play-in tournament right now.
Without question.
It's like a similar situation to how Joel Embiid's with the Philadelphia 76ers.
With Ben Simmons and the Kyrie Irving situation.
Exactly. It's like almost identical.
Kevin Durant, I think, throughout history is going to go down as one of the best shooters to ever play the game. Him, Jordan,
he's so good.
Bryant will be up there. So the East and the West are both really competitive this year. I think more so the West.
Really?
At the top, there's a little bit of a logjam with the Suns, the Warriors. There's a lot of good teams on the West, but the East is pretty stacked as well.
I will say, I think more of the East is way more competitive than the West because, as you said, they got great teams. They have the best team in the NBA right now in the Phoenix Suns, and the Golden State Warriors are not far behind, but honestly, looking at the division, it's still pretty top-heavy because when you have your Phoenix Suns, you got your Golden State Warriors, you also have your Los Angeles Lakers, your New Orleans the Pelicans are in play-in right now. It's not great.
And those are, I don't want to call them the bottom feeders because the Lakers did, albeit 2 years ago they won a championship.
The bubble.
Add an asterisk to it, maybe.
That's the bubble.
Albeit they did win. They still have LeBron and AD, and they have talent on that team. I would argue, though, but one of the dark horses in the West may be the Dallas Mavericks, just because their home court advantage, they get that Coliseum, if you want to call it, filled up. That's a hard place to win at.
That's fair.
Luka's been playing great, so it's definitely a good team, but I can't argue with your MVP votes either. All those players are great. The NBA this year has been pretty competitive.
It's been interesting.
It's been interesting. It's been a different year, somewhat like the NFL. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to preview the upcoming Super Bowl between the Los Angeles Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. So don't go away. We'll be right back. If I would have told you at the beginning of the season that the Los Angeles Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals would both win their divisions and then find their way into the Super Bowl, many of you would want me to have my head examined. What Joe Burrow and the Bengals have been able to do this year is nothing short of spectacular. And if they're able to win the Super Bowl this Sunday, It might be the most magical thing that happened to a Cincinnati sports team ever. Now, when it comes to the Rams, this is an all or nothing thing. They traded away every first round pick and won't have one until the year 2024. So I don't want to say it's a Super Bowl or bust, but it's certainly trending that way. Ashton, I'd like to hear your breakdown so far. Were you surprised? Obviously, you were surprised at this matchup, but what intrigues you the most of this matchup?
All right, so I'm gonna go back on your point a little bit about the Los Angeles Rams. Honestly, when it comes to Rams, I did expect them to be near the Super Bowl, like in the NFC Championship. Maybe not the way that they did it, but definitely, I would have expected them to be in the Super Bowl, especially with how much they gave away with that. But yeah, no, the Cincinnati Bengals, this is a Cinderella story and a half. If they win the Super Bowl, this is nothing short of a Disney documentary right here. Like, it's a Disney documentary in the making right now.
Right.
You already know they're going to be milking this, and they want the Bengals to win. I want the Bengals to win.
31 of the 32 NFL teams
Are
want the
rooting-
Cincinnati Bengals to win the game.
No,
so.
30. Detroit. Detroit Lions want the Rams to win because of Stafford. They want to see Stafford get a ring.
Maybe he did leave them in kind of a sour note, but
Okay, but going back on the actual game here, I think Cincinnati has a bit of an edge here. Now, obviously, the Rams have a bunch of talent on their team. Von Miller, Aaron Donald, Stafford, Kupp. Jalen Ramsey. A little less on that, but still Jalen Ramsey. All great players, obviously. And like you said, they traded so much for them. And like you said, no first-round draft pick until 2024. And I would, obviously expect them to be the favorites here, honestly, because of how much talent they have.
and it's a home field game.
And it's home field. They're in Los Angeles. However, when it comes to Cincinnati, this is nothing short of magical here. Maybe they're going to probably keep this going. They're the hottest team right now in football because they're only two teams. But going into it, they were one of the hottest. They were one of the hottest teams. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Titans. They've beaten all these fantastic teams. They beat the Chiefs twice this year. To go into the playoffs, and then they beat them in the AFC Championship game. If you really think about it, the Chiefs are a better team than the Rams. And so if you think that they're able to beat the Chiefs, you'd think they'd be able to beat the Rams. And, looking at the matchup here, Joe Burrow is the QB of the future right now. He's been just doing legendary things. He's already a legend in Cincinnati, for sure. But, he's thrown for over 30 touchdowns, and it's just nothing short of amazing. But I think something else we got to bring up is the Cincinnati defense. They don't really have anything spectacular. It's been efficient, and it's been working. The edge rushing has been insane.
I think also Sam Hubbard, who's been playing phenomenal. He is, you got to credit him. He had just caused Mahomes fits that entire AFC Championship game.
Oh yeah,
he was playing fantastic, and so he's definitely the I don't want to say the captain, but a lot of talk you hear from these Cincinnati players is they've been talking about the hype around the city. It's crazy. I also saw somewhere that Hubbard talked about how they're going to win the Super Bowl for Harambe. So, whether or not that's a joke or not, I'm not quite sure. But let's get back to football.
Let's get back
for a second. Your point of this is a Disney movie in the making. I wouldn't be shocked, win or lose. This is a Disney. You look at Disney Plus streaming service movie.
It's the greatest show on turf too.
Absolutely, it's a great.
I want to bring up a little more statistical thing here. Something that the Cincinnati Bengals have way over, leagues over the Rams, is their rushing attack. Mixon, absolutely insane this year. Has rushed for over 1,000 yards. Has rushed for 13 touchdowns. And then you look at the Los Angeles Rams. Their leading rusher. I'm not entirely sure. I might butcher the last name. Mitchell?
Sony Michel.
Michel. That's it. He's only rushed for around 800 yards with 4 touchdowns. Looking at it side by side, it's not even close.
And the thing also for this Bengals defense is they know that the Rams are a very, very pass-heavy offense. And if you can shut that down, and it's the likelihood of the Rams rushing attack beating you in the Super Bowl is pretty unlikely.
Exactly, yeah.
I would say.
Unless Michel has just an absolute breakout game here, I think it's safe to say that Cincinnati has the edge with the rushing attack. And talk about the passing game for Los Angeles. Cincinnati also has a really good passing game. He has, Joe Cool, Joe Shiesty, Joe Burrow as their QB with one of the best rookie wide receivers of all time and one of the best wide receivers in the league in Jamar Chase, who's only a rookie, by the way. So if Cincinnati keeps both Chase and Burrow for the future, it's a dynasty in the making.
Okay, so final prediction of the Super Bowl. I'll start. I think you're going to hate me for this.
You're going to say Los Angeles,
31-24, Rams win it. Go.
I hate you. It's Bengals. I have Cincinnati going for this. I think honestly, there's no way Cincinnati loses. I think it's going to be like 31-14. I think they're going to destroy them.
We'll see. Well, obviously, it's an intriguing matchup. Both quarterbacks have never won a playoff game.
True.
Both did that this year. It's going to be an intriguing Super Bowl. That is without question.
Exactly. Oh, also, one last thing before we head out. Another reason why I want Cincinnati to win is I don't like how Los Angeles was able to get here. They spent so much for all of the talent that they have. And if they win the Super Bowl like this, it's going to make other teams think that they can just, it'll make draft picks worthless in other people's eyes.
Trade everything away.
Trade all your draft picks away. Get all the talent. Don't worry about it. I don't like how they did. It's a very Los Angeles thing to do. It's a very big market team thing to do. You see it in baseball all the time. You see big contracts with, the big players, like huge contracts in the bigger teams, while the smaller market teams, they're not able to do that.
Right. Well, you're going to have to come back next week, see who is right on the Super Bowl. That'll do it for another episode of the Sports Hub. Don't forget to check out our other shows here on SBTV's channel. As always, I thank you everybody so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.